Practical AI applications. I always like to start out with some cartoons, some comics. Here on the left side, AI, a person in their office thinking, AI turns the single bullet point into a long email I can pretend I wrote. And then the person who receives the AI, who receives the email says, AI makes a single bullet point out of this long email I can pretend I read. And yes, that is what's going to happen. Again, in the working world, we're not necessarily working world folks, but keep in mind that's where a lot of the AI information is oriented. Little information about me. I always like the bottom one here, language experience. I think that's a key element in this process. I don't speak those languages much anymore, but I've had experience with German, Japanese, and American Sign Language. Just the idea of expressing ideas in multiple different forms, multiple different languages. The idea becomes important. Keep in mind, we've had 3 previous AI seminars. And what I wanted to do was to show you, clicking on this down here, it brings up AI Talks with Crows, and it lists down here the handouts that you may have received or may not have received. I hope you have. This is accessible to you. Here's suggestions. Here's the survey result. A couple things that I put together from AI, prompt, how to begin prompts, etc. Here's the slides in full form. Here's the second part of our presentation today. Will be these here. So this is available on the Talks with Crows website. Also wanted to make sure that everybody is aware in the experiments in AI, Maureen and I had luck in presenting this material years ago, also last fall. If you go to this one, there's the drop-down box will show up here. And you can go to these individual topics. So if you wanted to see Google Gemini, you get the slide, the video, and lightly edited video, plus the slides. And what we're going to focus on a lot here today is enhancements to this presentation is the text prompt. Here's the different prompt engineering presentation that we had. Again, Talks with Crows is the location here. Back to the slides. Keep in mind my biases. I have biases just in my presentation. This is one of the things I will emphasize, is that I'm incurably curious. I think that's one of the important points in presenting this material and learning this material. I'm down near the bottom. I am pessimism averse, which means that I don't like to look at the bad side of things when I'm looking at technology. I want things to be looked at positively. So do keep in mind I have that bias, and that will skew the presentations I make. You have a justification to be pessimistic about these presentations. And I have a bias towards print. The slides are generally print oriented. I like to include this slide in all presentations. This is the hierarchy of adult skill acquisition. We're going to work basically at level 2 here. That's what I'm shooting for. It's how to make your AI use regular. How do you acquire the skills to do that? Here's the expected outcome: increased awareness, improved use of AI and workflow process. This is where I've been using it a whole lot, is in document production, there's a workflow. You have to generate the ideas. You have to get the first ideas on your word processor or handwriting on a piece of paper. Then you get the first idea, then you edit, then you print, then you edit, recycling through edit and printing. What I found a couple ways is AI generates ideas, and AI can be the editor. When I was working, I had people, after I generated slides for presentations, I had multiple people go through the slides. I don't have that now. Maureen helps considerably in this, but I want to have somebody else to edit, and AI can be the edit. I use AI a lot for education, personal learning, professional development. I do use AI a lot, and for business development. Here's some of the what participants express to me as their expected outcomes. What are the risks? I like this one. How can people study AI in a way that produces practical results? A lot of my study in AI has produced dead ends. Hopefully, I can alleviate that part of the learning process, at least partially, to get you started in the right direction. I can't remember the phrase. The most important part of a journey is taking the correct steps first off. This is from, I think this was a Wall Street Journal graphic. Did anybody catch the misspelling in this? Third from the bottom has a misspelling in it. It provides evidence for data-driven decision. But these are how working people are. No, this was CEOs. This is how their businesses are using AI. This is how I'm using AI. Document summarization, a lot. Written composition, finding the right word, rephrasing a question to fit on a PowerPoint slide, process design, workflow, discovery, definition, and redesign. That's what I just explained. Marketing. Maureen and I had a discussion of this over dinner last night. How am I doing marketing? It's just self-motion is where I'm using it. Professional promotion here, doing professional work here, and personal work. I used it a lot in computer programming, how to use advanced programming, how do you put videos together in Adobe PowerPoint. I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to do it in Adobe Premiere, and this helps me a lot. And some programming. I did some web development. I will go through these acronyms quite a bit. We will have these same acronyms and vocabulary on all slides. GPT used to be generative pre-trained transformer, which is terribly geek. So this book I'm reading now came up with, it's a general purpose tool, GPT, general purpose tool. You're starting to see on the web as you use these things, it's called, they use the acronym RAG. It's called Retrieval Augmented Generation. In the olden days, 2 years ago, the AI was trained up to a specific date, like January 15th, 2022, and it wouldn't give you any information beyond that. RAG updated AIs will go out and retrieve information from the web. So it is more current. It's not current, it's more current. So we'll see that retrieval augmented generation. AGI used a lot. Again, a geek term, artificial generative intelligence, general intelligence as well, artificial generative intelligence, which tends to mean it's smarter than experts in all areas. AI is smarter than experts in a lot of areas, but not all areas. And then MMLM used to be AKA, also known as large language model. That has changed to now multimedia language model. Hopefully we'll look at this, one of them today. Here's some more that were in the first sessions, authentication. All of these sites want to know who you are. That's why you got to have some multiple ideas. A prompt, that's the information you ask for. You enter a prompt in and the AI will give you a response. In geek, that's called an inference. Statistically speaking, all AI is doing is giving you a statistical estimation of what's a good response, an inference. When in my olden days work with the Department of Defense, I did statistical work in some areas. And we did inferences. Corpus, what is the AI trained on? What is the corpus that the AI is trained on? Google went out in the teens, in the 2010s, and scanned all the libraries, University of Michigan Library, I think it did Stanford's library, it did the British Library, and put all that information in digital form, and it trained it. That's the corpus that the AI is trained on. Back propagation on it, I think the Nobel Prize this last year went to Geoffrey Hinton. In economics, I think he got it for the concept of back propagation. Most important for us, when you see in AI the thumbs up or the thumbs down, what does that mean? That's feeding information back to the AI so that it can reconfigure itself that, yeah, this is a good response. Let's try to, the information I have in that scenario is positive oriented. And then tokenization is extraordinarily important in artificial intelligence. And I think we see an example of that in just a minute. These are the new terms that I will continue to emphasize in all these sessions. Context, the mindset in which a conversation occurs. If you're having a conversation with someone, you first meet up with them, it takes a few seconds for both parties in the conversation to adapt their mindset to the conversation at hand. In computer ease, it's the capacity of the AI to retain information about the conversation for ongoing interaction. And the context window of AIs is different from AI to AI. Regrettably, I'm finding that Microsoft Copilot has a much more limited context window. If you're willing to give OpenAI $20 a month, they expand your context window so you can have much more significant conversation to it. It remembers the context of the conversation. Values alignment. Oh man, is this ever becoming important? What is the AI aligned to do? Is it aligned to give you accurate responses? Is it aligned to make you feel good? Is it aligned to give you emotional interaction? Is it aligned to encourage you to interact more? If you think about the Facebook, back in the day, they constructed their environment so that you would interact more with it. That was their values alignment. So be aware of what the AIs are aligned to. Frontier models, we won't see these. This is the AIs that are on the cutting edge of technology. In newspaper articles, you'll see information about this. Is it going to come up with AGI, artificial generative intelligence, artificial general intelligence? Will it, control chemical experiments, stuff like that? Compute is becoming more and more important. You've read about how Microsoft wants to start up a nuclear reactor at 3 Mile Island so that they can run their computers more to train more stuff. They want to run higher level computes. They want to compute more stuff. And so they need more electricity. So that's what, in computer geekese, that's what they mean. They'll use the term compute. Markdown, we'll see this, I think, during the course of our 5 sessions. It's the text layout. When you try to copy and paste text from the AI to a word processor, sometimes it comes out cryptic, and that's markdown format. And this is the big one now, agentic. Is, can the AI be an agent to complete multiple steps? Can it find the most desirable flight from Medford to London at the best price? Can it do all that stuff? You can spend 15 minutes trying to do that, but can the AI act as your agent to do that process? And they are slowly becoming more agentic. This is an example of tokens. We're still kind of reviewing. Remember, the process for AI to learn when it's being trained, the people training the AI turn text into numbers, and then these are called tokens, and then the tokens are fed to the AI. As you type a prompt, one of the processes is the AI turning your prompt text into tokens. How big can that be? How much can you So this is the way that this is learning. All of the language is converted to tokens, and that's what that is. This is why, now the next 3 slides is why AI is possible. This is a chart that I had AI produce of processor, Intel processors, NVIDIA processors, all of these companies that do processors, how it's increased in speed over time. The processors in 1971, the Intel 4004 had 2,300 transistors in it and could do 93,000 floating point operations per second. That's a simple mathematics, simple arithmetic, basically, that has a decimal point in it. A decimal point with, I believe it's 8 decimals to the right of the decimal. So that's what flops are. So this, if you go down to the Pentium 4, it has 42 million transistors on it. It did 66.2 gigabillion floating point operations per second. The latest 2023, this is not the, yes, the latest Intel Core i9 from, it's 1 generation old, has 24 billion transistors on it, and it does 3.5 teraflops, which is trillion floating point operations per second. So there's that increase in that speed in the processor. Here's the historical increase in data transmission from the telegraph in 1870s that went 65 bits per second to the modern cable modems. I have 100 million bits that's on off. A bit is on off. A switch can do 100 million, and actually we have, as I explained in my bias, we have a 1 billion bits per second line in our home now. So, and then this is the lines of code somebody has written, the code that goes into this. I use Microsoft Windows. Variations from 1993, there were 4 or 5 million source lines of code, SLOC, source lines of code in the software. To 2015, there are now 80 million software lines of code. And I looked at the 2020 Apple, one of their names, has 86 software lines of code in it. So those 3 elements have made it possible for AI. Please, as we go through this, in the next 5 sessions, remember these biases in the AI. I tend to look at these biases in myself. The individual mindset of the AI, what doesn't it know? What are its limitations? The cultural mindset. One of the things I've discovered is AI music production does not do music production outside of the Western frame of reference. So it does not know how to do a samisen, which I believe is the Japanese type guitar. It does not do very good with a sitar. So it's not been trained on things outside of its own cultural frame of reference. Seen it a lot, sex and gender biases. Ask an AI to produce a picture of someone cleaning a room. It's going to produce a woman doing that. That's a bias. That's a cultural, sex-oriented bias. Race and gender, have someone doing a garden and we'll have a Hispanic looking person. Cultural bias, ethnicity, expectations. Caste is extraordinarily important. In India, AI is becoming the language translator between the 100 different languages in India, and the biases between the Dalits, which are the untouchables, and the Brahmins, which are the highest caste. Huge bias there that's showing up. The corpus of training material, medical training is what they're finding is it's mostly based on white people, Caucasians, and it's showing biases and inaccuracies when you're working with Asians, African information, African folks. So that's showing up. Epistemology of ignorance. Why do people want to be ignorant? What's the study of ignorance? What does the AI, what was it trained not to know? You won't be able to make poisons or explosives. It's trained not to know that. And the anthropic limitations, this was my mind blowing. What are the limitations of being human? We cannot think of, as humans, concepts in deep space that might occur. We just don't have the physics awareness to do that. Potential risk of using AI, legal risks, of course. If you ask incorrectly for medical information or ask incorrectly for legal information, it's going to say, I can't give that to you. Contextual risks and circumstantial risks. I found that if I used AI, that I absolutely must check my work. I must. The circumstances of me doing that were very embarrassing. Values alignment. What's the business orientation? The business, if you're using it for business, how are you going to align your values? Is the values going to be to get more business, like Amazon, let's say? Or is the values aligned to give the customer what they want? That's a different alignment. Computational risks. If you make the wrong decisions and you do computations and it's wasted, boom, energy wasted. What if OpenAI, who's spending $1 billion, screws up on their newest version, their newest model of AI? $1 billion down the drain. All of that energy, the energy of a large city, down the drain. So there's those kind of risks as well. Very short here. I find myself looking at AI in this way. Theory of mind. It's a childhood development, original perspective. Children at the age, infants at the age of 4 or 5 start to recognize that other humans have different mental states than they do. We hope infants do this. That's the transition from infant to child, is that other human beings have a state of mind. So I tend to think of AIs as having a state of mind. And this down here is you determine other people's state by looking at their act and their speech. That is the theory of mind that is used, is you look at people's behavior and their speech, and from those you deduce what their state of mind is. That's the only way I think it can be done. But I do that for AIs, keeping in mind wide spectrum of human capabilities, wide range of AI capabilities, specialization of individual humans, doctors, lawyers, teachers, nurses, the whole spectrum, physicists, all of that capability as AI specialized. AI surpasses some human intelligence. AIs are starting to surpass doctors on the test for medical school. What are the characteristics of human intelligence? What are the characteristics of the AI intelligence? Please use your thoughts to think about these things at times. This, I thought, one of the factors of human mental intelligence is that state of mind for humans is that they can build a model of their environment in their heads and then run scenarios against that model to predict how to behave. What's the optimal outcome for a specific desire, given the circumstances, given the environment in which we're in. And then there's the quantum theory, uncertainty principles, which is basically you cannot, if you look at a specific instance and freeze it in time, you lose a characteristic of that element because it's dynamic. You cannot look at motion and position at the same time. I think that was the quantum element that Niels Bohr came up with in 1927. Now we're going to start our work. This is what I wanted to emphasize today. A science behind effective prompts. We're going to look at how to develop effective prompts to get the response, get the inference that we want. And I put a rather than the science. It's a science. This was the first slides that I used, provide a context. And then provide a format. And now we're going to look at enhanced development of the context. When you provide this, when you provide the statement, what where people are finding, experts are finding, you provide a persona that you want the AI to assume. You want then provide the prompt that you want, the information that you want, and then you provide the format of the desired response. Examples being act as a financial advisor, act as a physicist, act as an expert in adult education. Inference, provide a monthly budget plan. And then the format would be something like in 5 bullet points. Okay, go through 2 elements here, provide personas, act as a historian, act as a historian of medieval history, or you are a marketing expert. You say this to the AI in your prompt. As you engineer your prompt, you say, assume the role of a customer service representative. Then you say what you want. Doing this enhances the accuracy of the response. You know, when you're working, if you're working with somebody or talking with somebody, you try to prompt that person's attention to the topic you want to discuss. That will orient the person's frame of reference, puts them in the frame of mind to discuss it, brings you to that point. I try that a lot with folks. Here's the format. Again, we're dealing with the first part of engineering the prompt and the last part of engineering a response. At the end, in formatting the prompt, you can say, in a format appropriate to a business executive. Assume you are a business expert. Develop a risk and mitigation strategy for an online business in a format appropriate to a business executive. And we're going to try this. You could also say in 5 to 7 paragraphs. If you were in college, there's kids doing this every day, I can guarantee you. In 7 paragraphs, give me a response to my history exam. In 3 bullet points with 1 or 2 paragraphs explaining each point. I do that one all the time. At a 10th grade reading level. In a format easily copied to Google Slides. And this stuff goes after the main body of the response. And here I go. Now, this will be interesting to see how I can screw this up here. This is the whole prompt that I put together. Assume you have exceptional experience in adult education. Please develop a risk analysis and mitigation strategy for a mature learner program in artificial intelligence. Address the issues of age-related cognitive issues, age-related topic references to develop in the learners an appropriate set of images to their eras of youth, and a vehicle for information, instruction, and delivery. Please put the analysis in 5 to 7 major categories with 2 to 3 paragraph explanation of each. Now I'm going to screw up here, but let's try it. Let's see if I can screw up. So now you see on your screen, I'm copying and pasting that prompt. You see Let's see if I can make it big.
That's good.
And is it big enough? It won't go bigger. But at the bottom is the prompt entry for Chat GPT. This is Chat GPT here. And I'm going to paste that full prompt in there. I thought I would. Let's see if I can do it once more. It may not work. Isn't that going to be page, paste? There it is. I pasted that whole phrase in there. And then I hit return. Oh, and I hit this one right there. Yeah. And now notice the response that it comes up with, and notice the layout of the response. I've got to catch myself before I screw out too much. And all cognitive load. Here's the risk and mitigation strategy. Notice how it responds here. Notice I'm going to send this to the people over at the OLLI office. Make sure that every instructor gets this. And of course, if I was to use this, I would want to go. I can guarantee you, folks, if you don't review your work, you will end up embarrassing yourself. I speak from experience. So this is copy and pastable. Let's see if I can go down here to the very bottom. Came up with 7 strategies. Can you see down here at the bottom? Way down here, I can say, oh yeah, that's a good response. I could have it read it. I could have it recompute it with a different model, or I can, let's copy it. Let's see if I can copy it. It said I did it. And now I'm going to further screw up here. Here's my Zoom again. No, this is, and I'm going to go to docs at google.com. I'm going to create a new doc in Google Docs, and I'm going to paste. Let's see what happens. Nope, cancel. Oh, it said P. Excuse me. Excuse my language here. Paste. So now I have 3 pages, 4 pages. I've put this into Google Docs, which is a processor widely used in business now, and it's a direct competitor to Microsoft Word. It has a lot of capabilities. Word has more, so you got to go through, and I'm just going to edit here to make it look good. You know, that's one of the things that, so you can go through and edit it. So I have now, I'm going to minimize this. I guess I have to hit exit. Excuse me. Let's see. I'm going to exit full screen. And I'm going to bring my slides back up. So any questions now? Me having copied and pasted, I used that as an example. I used this exact text. And I wanted to emphasize to each of you the copying and pasting into an AI. Let's see if I can go back here. I have to go back a couple of pages. This was the top part. What is the persona that I asked the AI to assume as part of my prompt? I asked it to assume the persona of a person exceptionally experienced in adult education. Then I put in what I wanted it to make. Then I said, please put the analysis in 5 to 7 major categories with 2 to 3 paragraphs explanation of each. Now you can create all the business stuff that you want. So here, this is one that we'll look at here. This is Meta AI. I put these in the slides. And again, this Meta has transitioned from a large language module into a multimedia language module, meaning that it makes images and text responses in the same AI. That's what I think it means. Here's a copy into Word, Microsoft Word, put it into Adobe Acrobat format. This is just and here I did this live on screen. So this is just prompts you. What I liked very much about Google Docs is look at the way that it puts each of them into a tab. Now, I don't know what this does, but I noticed this. It organized part of my layout here.
It's time to take a break.
Time to take a break. Yes, let's take a... Hey, Google, no, I'm not going to do Google. Hey, Siri, set a 7-minute timer.
7 minutes, starting now.
Let's see how they respond. Let's do a timer, and I will try to place a little music here. I got to do a couple things here. So I just get the music up here.
Jim,
Yes, ma'am.
now that you have that detailed response about adult education, you should ask your participants if they agree with it. Agree with the
There we go. Yeah, let's go through it. I think I'm going to jump into one thing here. Talks with Crows, and this is not yet integrated into PRACAI. Lists a lot of files that I've put up here. Let's see if I'm going to make it full screen.
Is the break finished?
It hasn't
So you should wait.
told me. I'll wait 1 second. Yeah.
You'll wait until it tells you it's done. That's
I'm not going to let the AI control me. Yeah, I'm joking. Hopefully it will respond. Hey Siri, stop. I'll try to make the following information available after our session here today. Again, this is on the talkswithcrows.com website. I'm experimenting, so this could be a failure when it comes out to you. But I have a number of files, most of them being PDF, that you may be interested in. And it's at talkswithpros.com/prac, P-R-A-C dash A-I, P-R-A-C dash A-I. So we've got the suggestions on prompts. We've got the responses to the survey that you people were so kind to fill out. Then a couple AI responses as to how to structure prompts. Then we've got 2 files here about mature learner. I'm going to go back to that. I downloaded, I was successful in downloading the Jack Smith folder. That's not supposed to be in there, but it is. And then full slides, handout slides. And it will open up it will download when you do it. But let's go back here. Let's look at this. This was the response we got from ChatGPT as to a risk analysis and mitigation strategy. I have not laid this one out, but let's look. This is for mature learner. cognitive load and processing limitation. We adults of a certain age, do we have that? Anyone can respond if you'd like. This one I've worked on quite a bit, trying to come up with era appropriate context and references. So we had major learning experiences in our teens, which may have been in the 1960s. It was for me. Will references or similes or metaphors that draw from those experiences in the 60s aid me in understanding something today? Accessible and flexible instruction delivery, platform familiarity. Well, I think most people are available with, are familiar with Zoom nowadays, but I'm trying to make more materials available. Again, am I using large fonts? That's a problem on the screens here. Hybrid learning models. Yes, that's a little bit of what we're doing. Pacing. Maureen emphasizes to me pacing and learning, individual learning differences. Go a little slower. Take more pauses. Allow self-pace. That's what the website intended to do with the first AI seminars. Experiments in artificial intelligence is up on the website. What are some of the emotional barriers? This one I'm not so sure.
Go back up there so we can see what they say. Fear of
failure or feelings of inadequacy about engaging with complex subjects like AI may discourage participation or risk-taking in the learning process. Again, this seminar is structured in a way, my intent in structuring it is, I show you how it's done, I do it a few times, now the burden is upon the seminar participants to do this on their own. I can see this idea that the complexity of the subject may hinder, may attenuate mature learner skill acquisition. Ooh, man, I should write that down. Practical relevance. Yeah, how are you going to use this? I mean, is it real to you? I would think for some people, when their responses to their expectations, yes, there are real life scenarios. We have some people looking to enhance this. So we got a chat, Maureen. Did we get something in there? I don't.
Yes, the question is, can the prompts be spoken or oral rather than typed?
Yes, that's a new enhancement. I'll jump to that. That's an excellent question, mind you. That's an excellent question. That is one of the enhancements that the AIs are trying to implement. The first one to do that was an AI called Pi, Pi.ai. Mustafa Suleiman was the CEO of that company, and he was hired by Microsoft. So yes, And I will demonstrate that here in just a second. Here we go. So this, I'll try to make this available. You need, this is, let's go back to the AI. Now this happens to be this is Chat GPT. It is not Chat GPT. It can be an app on a Mac, Android, iPhone. You can download the app for Chat GPT. And later in the seminar, we're going to look at Apple Intelligence. You've undoubtedly seen the advertisements for Apple Intelligence. Apple Intelligence is basically a connection from Apple products to Chat GPT. But let's look here. So here's the response that it just generated. And we'll cover this. I believe I've got, this is next meeting. I've got the slides in draft format. But look down here. Can you see down in the lower right-hand corner? I think if I hit this, it just transcribes my prompt. Let me think of a prompt here and see if I can do this.
What he's pointing at is a microphone.
This is a microphone here, and this is a sound wave. But let me think here. I want you to assume, no, this is only getting verbal. Let's see what happens here. It doesn't transcribe it. It's processing it. Hopefully I didn't screw things up too much. Nope, that was a mistake. Oh, here it is. Notice how it came up with the text there. I'm going to try once more. It did come up with the text down there. Delete. I'm going to, I got to think here. Please think that you are an expert writing a law book. I'm studying your book and want to know about torts. What is a tort? Please respond in 3 paragraphs that a college graduate level reader would understand. It transcribed that. I hit it. So if you were a law student and you wanted to get a quick review of torts, and I just pulled that off the top of my head, but now you can also speak. That was just a straight transcription of speech. I think that answered the question. But here I'm going to do this one when it becomes a personal interaction. Let's see if it works here. Hey, how you doing, Chad? Is everything good on your end?
Hey there, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about you? Everything going well on your end?
Is it coming through, Maureen, the speech?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
I can just barely hear it.
I'll try to turn it up. Well,
Sure.
it takes me a second to turn the speech up. Is that a little bit better?
Yes, that sounds clearer now. Can you
Yeah.
hear me better too?
Yes.
Yes, thanks for being patient there, Chad. I got you on screen here with some 40 participants in a seminar, and you are now the star. What do you want to say to people?
Thanks for the warm introduction. I'm excited to be here with everyone. Let's dive into some interesting discussions and learning. Feel free to ask any questions as we go along.
Yeah, one of my big questions is, how do you form your audible responses differently than your text-based responses? You know, Chat GPT can respond both in a text format, and now it can respond in a voice format. Those are different ways of interacting, text being more formal than voice. How do you modify stuff for that?
That's a great question. When responding in voice, I aim for a conversational and engaging tone, keeping it natural and friendly. The language tends to be more fluid and informal to match the nuances of spoken communication. On the other hand, text-based responses are often more structured and detailed. They provide clarity and precision as readers may revisit them for reference. Overall, I adapt to the medium, ensuring the response feels appropriate and engaging for how it's being delivered.
Hey, cool, thanks. I'm going to change your voice here, see if I change the voice. Notice right here the little windows, and I'm going to see if I can. No, I screwed up. But I've just ended the voice interaction. I don't want to steal the thunder. I want you all to come back next week.
But look, you now have a transcription of it.
Yes, notice that what's actually occurring in the background is an interaction in the text. Really what it's doing is generating text, and then it's speaking that text. Question. I think there were two, weren't there, Maureen?
Yes, one is, I assume this prompt structure is applicable where we're using GPT, Gemini, or Perplexity, or others.
Yes, it is. It goes across, but again, back to theory of mind, is you will find idiosyncrasies in each of the AIs as to what works best. What will ultimately come out of this experience of 5 sessions is find the one that works best for you and stick with that environment. You know, Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, Microsoft Word, boom. Gemini, Google, Gemini is their AI. Stick with that one, go to Google Docs. I'm not sure exactly the Chat GPT one, but I'm experimenting with Apple's word processor called Pages to see how it absorbs text that you copy and paste over. So that's, I hope, yes, this prompt instruction applies across the AIs. Of course, adapting some to the idiosyncrasies of the individual AI, and which you will only learn through repeated interaction.
The next question is kind of a clarification. Did you say we have to download the AI program before we use it?
No, you can use them in browsers. You can open a browser, Chrome or Edge or Safari, and go to chatgpt.com or gemini.google.com and use them. You have to log in, you have to authenticate yourself. You have to log into them. You can use them in a browser, but you can also now download the programs individually. What I've got up here now, Meta, which is Facebook or Instagram, they are only available in a browser. Its AI is only available in a browser. So there's the craziness of too much choice that happens amongst this thing.
We have another question here. I'm not quite sure I understand it or if I'm going to put it correctly. In the ways in which you interact with AI, expand the AI capability for other users.
Yes, it does. I had to look this up. If you don't know what the product is, you're the product. Facebook, Twitter, or X, what it is now, what's Instagram, are free. So in effect, what all of these products are doing is gathering information about you to improve them. So yes, as you interact with ChatGPT, if I understand the question correctly, as you interact with ChatGPT, it will improve itself in interacting with you, and it will remember somewhat. I mean, it will remember somewhat over time, days, weeks. It will remember your wishes and desires. And it will also feed back to everybody. It will, keep in mind that these AIs are huge data files. They're huge. And my interaction is just infinitesimally small amongst that database. So my interaction, it will not visibly change it for other people, but it will change things. If I say, yes, this is a good response, it may 10 days later provide a similar response to another person, or a complementary layout to somebody else. Or if 100,000 people respond, yeah, I like that text format, it will assume that text format. So yes, the answer is yes, it does. Do keep in mind that the companies have to watch your text in case the government comes and says, we want this person's questions, the FISA warrants, Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. You read it, these crazies that do things, and they look at their internet interactions. Yeah, so that it does keep track of it. So here's Meta AI circa 2024, last November. This is what it looked like in our November 2024. How many months ago? 2 months ago. They've changed it. This was the same company. It was only image generation. What is Instagram basically, but an image company. Here's Meta today. We're going to look at it. Here's a little bit of what it looks like. If you go to meta.ai, it's got a little menu on the left side of the screen that comes up. You click on the top window here, and it will prompt you to log in. Know your customer. Authentication. It has to occur. And all of them do it. So here's what the Meta is: a Facebook, Instagram. What IDs are they going to use? Facebook, Instagram. Luckily, I have a Facebook. I don't use it as much as I used to. The question becomes, what are the implications of requiring the use of Facebook or Instagram ID? It's free. So what is the product to Facebook's advertisers? Me. It's learning from me. It's updating its database back to that question that was asked so that they can target advertising to me. So if I want advertising about dogs, it's going to send it to me. And again, after I log in, same menu on the left side. If I hit those three lines, it opens a panel on the right side that has my history. Excuse me if I have anything in history there that is inappropriate. I hope I don't. The graphic there tries to explain that. Text now as well as graphical. Here's one that this is the example from before. Assume you have exceptional experience in adult education. Notice the prompt box at the bottom of the screen. This is the prompt entry area. I don't know if it has a common name. And after you've input the text, you hit that button. Here's the response. Notice on the right side of the response, this is different between each AI, but it's got these icons up here, very small, so I've enlarged it. Share, copy to clipboard. Now the next few slides, I think I might have messed up, but I think if you just hit share, no, if you just hit copy to clipboard, boom, it copies all this. But if you hit share, it says copy a link. I don't understand this part very well. You get a link, you have to copy the link into a blank browser screen. Then from that, you can do a copy, select all, copy, paste into Microsoft Word, paste into Google Docs. Oh, I got to go back. How do I go back? So I think this is a little bit confusing. From the response to copying the text into a browser is a little confusing in Meta AI. Share and clipboard only copies the link to the AI. Then Facebook, if I am a business person and I say, hey, let's examine this AI and see if it's appropriate to our business, and I send it to 500 people, and 500 people click on it, Facebook knows that 500 people have looked at this response. There's value in that to Facebook. That may be why they're doing it. Then I copy it, Control A, Control C, or Command if you're on a Mac. Command A, Command C, select all, copy, and paste. Command P. I was been doing that since 1980. So, questions about the text
Yeah, you have a couple of questions here.
Okay.
One kind of comment. So basically, in any of the AI options, don't try as a joke to use a prompt like "How can I assassinate the president?" Right?
Don't do that. I don't do that. Please do not do that. I believe that will throw a flag up on a human being someplace in where Mountain View or East Palo Alto, in those Facebook has right across, what is it, San Mateo Bridge comes across on the left side as you're coming down the bridge. It's Facebook headquarters. Something's going to flash on the screen on Facebook to a human being, and they're going to go, "Hey, oh, hey, Homeland Security, don't do it."
Okay. Here's
Not as a
another
joke.
question. James, do you have a preference for the current crop of AI? And if so, why? Has it evolved? Does this preference change based on the type of question or data that you're sourcing?
Yes. The last part of the question, yes. I've been using AIs to help me code the website. So I think it's called cascading style sheets, CSS, the way that the web page looks, the drop down box in the website. I'm using the accordion that you click on it and it drops down a small amount of text, and then you can close the accordion. I'll show that.
But what AI are you using?
For coding, I use Copilot or Perplexity. For most of my stuff, I'm using Chat GPT. I will probably pay Chat GPT $20. I'm very close to that. But that's because of its integration into Apple Intelligence.
And the final question, what's the name of the Apple program?
The Apple AI is
think-
using Apple is using Chat GPT. Apple and OpenAI have probably got a partnership where the Apple intelligence features, and we'll see that. I've got slides started for that. Apple AI uses Chat GPT for all of its work. Integrates into messages, text messaging. It integrates into notes, Apple Notes. It does not, regrettably, integrate yet into Pages. There's 3 or 4 places. I'd have to refer to my notes here to try to remember that. But Apple uses Chat GPT. There's a partnership between Apple and OpenAI, who makes Chat GPT. So keep in mind I think that's how it's going to come together. Microsoft has Copilot and Microsoft Word. Google has Gemini and Google Docs. Apple has their suite of products and Chat GPT. That's how things are going to go together. For that reason, that's another reason I'll probably end up giving Chat GPT $20. But the programming might be open source, the best one. And hopefully we have time to go over that. But just keeping in mind multimedia language model, we'll look at Meta's also got an image creation. Remember, you went up to the top here to get it to respond in text. You go down to the bottom one here and it responds in image. Here's what it looks like after you type in a prompt. And then I asked it to make some crows. And so it makes 4 images of crows. I clicked on one of the images, it enlarges it, and then I can do these things with it. I can download the image, I can share the image, I can unremember, or I can close the window. Unsaved, that's very opposite use for that symbol, unsaved. There's the image that it made. Let's see if I can bring up a browser.
You have 1 minute.
I can do it in 1 minute. I'm that fast. Meta AI. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Notice on the left side the things that I talked about. Let's see if it does not have voice in it. Notice I have to type it. What's the difference between weather and climate? Get a response there. So I get this is Meta. Then I click this one, and let's have pictures of small puppies. PU pictures. I don't want pictures. I want paintings. We're going to discuss this a little bit. Notice the symbol that it's thinking. Notice it's thinking. So there's the pictures of puppies, paintings of puppies. I can regenerate. I can save the pictures. I can save. I can bring the puppies up. I can look at them large. Let's go back. Let's go back and let's put in pencil drawings of puppies. Notice how I changed the composition of the prompt. Let's see if we get a difference. Pencil drawings. Let's have watercolor paint, watercolor.
You have another couple of questions here too.
Okay. Please go with those. Could you read them, please?
If you want to improve a document, do you bring up the doc first and then chat GPT?
If you want, I usually bring the word processing program up, and then I go to the document, or excuse me, to the AI and have it generate the document. Then it's much easier to copy over. You can always notice this symbol right here. It's regenerate. So in the responses of both in text and images, there's the response button. let's go back. Once this regenerates here, I don't want to create too much. It regenerates the puppy. Let's go back here. Weather and climate. It remembers it's updating its database. It's learning more as it goes. Is there regenerate? No, it does not have regenerate here. That's unusual. Let's see if I can copy and paste it and do it again. What's this one? This is save. Good response, bad response. I can copy it. Let's see, P. No, darn it. Paste. Bullet. The short explainer. A lot of them have the ability to regenerate right in the up in this little area. All of them have little sidebars. This happens to be Meta, is the one we're looking at now. Over the course of the training, we'll have more. We'll look at different AI. This just happens to be Meta. I don't know if you saw the news that XAI, Elon Musk has released Grok, Grok, in an app for Apple. It's pretty good, actually. I hate to say it, but it's pretty good. So the AIs are different. We'll look at them over the course of the 4 remaining sessions. Was there another question, Maureen?
The other one is, what is your thoughts on perplexity and X? And so I probably in other sessions, you're going to get to that.
Yes, we'll get to those in other sessions, but let's see if this happens to be X. I'm going to sign in with Google. I use one of my burner IDs because I don't. Oh. So here's what X looks like. Or Grok. Grok, Grok. I don't know if here's that response. Let's see. Oh no, this is X. No, I don't want to put that in there. Here's Grok. Here's what Grok looks like. Doing things on the no, I don't want to print. I want to paste this response. This is again. This is how Grok responds, and a very short one. I'm just doing this on the fly, so I apologize for any mistakes. Does this say that it will? What's that one? I can't read underneath there. Notice down here, I will have a little bit better I can regenerate the responses. So you can regenerate. I don't know if you saw again the news. X has just opened up its Colossus server farm in Memphis, Tennessee, with a huge number of NVIDIA GPUs in it. I'm really angry that he used the term Colossus, because, you know, Alan Turing in the 1940s built Colossus to defeat the Axis in World War II. That was what he used, was Colossus. He built the first computers. Programmable computers were called Colossus and Bombet. But Colossus, he was the first functional one, really. Any more questions, Maureen, here before
Just a comment, Sol wants to, says that I think Grok, I think, is from an old sci-fi book.
Yes, I think you're right, yeah. I let's just ask it. Where is the term? Heinlein's science fiction novel, Stranger in a Strange Land, published in 1961. Grok is a Martian word that roughly translates to understand deeply or to empathize completely. So there you go. And it's Grok is available on Apple mobile devices, so iPhones and tablets. This is all happening as we speak. So part of what I'm going to ask people to do is to be tolerant, realize fully that you will have to experiment, that you will learn. Things will change as you learn these items. It's ongoing change, and we've just looked really at one here today. And I wanted to just very quickly, everybody can go if they need to, but I'm going to try one more thing here. I'm going to share the screen once more. Share. And I'm going to bring up my website. That's, again, remember, Talks with Crows, PRA Prac-AI. PRAC.AI. Notice one, this was distributed. This is a list of possible prompts without the persona and without the format. So here's prompt engineering regarding caregiving that I borrowed from AARP Bulletin in November 2024. These are items I've collected from the web. AI prompt engineering for small businesses. Generate a list of 50 potential blog post ideas for my specific business, complete with working titles and brief outlines. So if you wanted to promote or market your business idea, you can generate 50 blog posts that you can put on Medium, that you can put on, what are the other blog? What's the big one now? Not SharePoint. On what's the LinkedIn? You could put something on LinkedIn, and you could do all that. So here's other business development. Do a marketing analysis. Here's the phrasing. Conduct a comprehensive market analysis for business, including target demographics, competitor landscape, and market size. Provide a SWOT analysis and identify potential niches or gaps in the market. If you wanted to put, these are ideas to prompt your memory, to prompt the context in which you're thinking, to bring forward your intelligence to think about these ideas. And then from your intelligence, so this is one of the items in the AI. Give me a second. See if I here's the responses to the survey. Most people use Microsoft. That was a learning. No, not most people. Microsoft computers. I was surprised to think most people who have a tablet have iPads. People have a little bit general positive idea about it. Which word processor most? So you can look at that. Here's a full slides, full page slides, if you want them, versus what you got was here's the full page slides if you want to print them out. And then I think I'll try to do this more. But because this is a newspaper article, I cannot legally put it, but for educational purposes, I can. So I'm saying this is educational. It's got a password to it. The password that I use is OLLI, OLLI, and it will bring up the Wall Street Journal article only for participants in this class. It's not generally available for free on the internet, but for our educational purposes, it is available. So this is a little bit of what I mentioned. And again, if you want to familiarize yourself with some of the different AIs before we begin them, you can go to Talks with Crows, Experiments in AI. This is an explanation of this page. And then I've got the topics in this drop-down box. So you could look at Google Gemini. You could look at Microsoft Copilot. You could look at Pi AI, Chat GPT, Claude 2, the instruction for those. Google Gemini, there's Google Gemini again. You can look at those, plus some Poe. So when I if you wanted to look at Claude version 2, so it's a while ago, you get the video. And how long is it? So that's 26 minutes long, if you got 26 minutes. Or you can look at the slides right here for Claude, which is the big Amazon-backed company. Anthropic. Amazon, I believe, has 6 billion in them. So any other questions you can see there, Maureen? I think we've
what is your opinion on Perplexity? But I'm assuming you're going to.
Perplexity is pretty good. They have the most current information, but the context, the amount of context it will recall about a conversation, if you have multiple interactions with it on a specific topic, its context window is smaller, plus its sentiment value alignment, that's something I should copyright. Sentiment value alignment. I don't understand it. What it's trying to, and how it responds to me is a little out of my frame of reference, but it does have good current. So if you want to know what's happening on today's hearings for the Attorney General and the Secretary of Defense, you want information on that, Perplexity is best to look for. And that's an important topic, that. Because what's going to happen, how does Google make money? Their search engine. What's happening to Google's search engine? It's getting eaten by AI. Dum, dum, dum. Hear that? Law and order. Dun, dun, dun. Who else had that? Thank you for participating, Jay. It's one is I value your time, and two, your willingness to participate in me gives me motivation to do the research. I've had to do a significant amount of research, and it's fun for me to do the research, but I get motivation by knowing I will present it to you, and I value your time. I want this to be as effective as can possibly be done via this medium. So thank you for participating.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Next week, I'll hopefully have the slides ready by. Thank you.